All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next session. Uh, Got to get all the things on my screen about toilet design. And our first session is by Dr. Diana Yousef, speaking on the iThrone, a waste evaporating toilet for places with no plumbing. And Diana, I know at the in-person summit, you were surprised that I didn't cut any of your bio, but you've just done so many amazing things, and I'm going to read the whole thing again. So buckle up. We've got an impressive person to listen to. So, Dr. Diana Yousef, it's such an honor to have you back. Is a PhD, MBA founder, and CEO. Diana is a serial clean tech entrepreneur, 20 plus years experience commercializing science-based technologies. She conceived of evaporative off-grid sanitation while working with NASA on water treatment options for the International Space Station. She went on to found Change Water Labs, and leveraging her scientific research background, she led initial lab development and testing of their proprietary evaporative material and is lead author on two key patents. As the product development graduated beyond lab testing, she switched to her business executive role and currently leads all go-to-market and partnership efforts to link product development to commercial markets. She works closely with the CTO and engineering team on product market fit determination, on managing forward progress for field pilots, and on developing commercial partnerships around the globe. She has successfully raised $2.8 million in grants and equity for concept development to technology invention and testing to initial field pilot validation. Prior to Change Water Labs, Diana was a strategy consultant with McKinsey and also an emerging markets investment professional with an international finance corporation, the private equity arm of the World Bank, and the United Nations Development Program on private sector investment into technology sectors in emerging markets. She was a biotech, clean tech venture principal with two early stage venture capital funds, scouting and spinning out promising technologies from government and academic labs into startup companies. She has also helped found and grow a number of biotech and clean tech companies in the medical devices, water treatment, and solar energy spaces. She holds degrees in biology, a BA from Harvard, biochemistry, a PhD from Cornell, finance, MBA from Columbia, and international affairs, an MA from Columbia. She has won numerous international awards for her work on Change Water Labs, was invited by the Turkish government to speak at the 2019 UN Climate Summit. She was a World Economic Forum top innovator and TEDx speaker. Her team has attracted pilot contracts from the Gates Foundation, UNDP Turkey, Grand Challenges Canada, the UK International Development Agency, and Imagine H2O's Urban Water Challenge. Their work has been featured in articles in Forbes, CNN, BBC Earth, and Fast Company. Diana, we're excited to have you back. Take it away.
Wow. Great. I'm going to share my slides. So, do you all see my slides? Great. All
We
right.
do. Thank you.
Yeah. So as was mentioned, I am the founder of Change Water Labs, and we are a company that has invented a way to make waste disappear. So a couple years back, I was looking at ways to recycle wastewater on the space station. And what I realized was that just like space, here on Earth, lots of places don't have great ways to get rid of sewage. In fact, 4.2 billion people live with no access to a safe, clean toilet. And that's largely because they live in places with no sewage plumbing, so they can't flush. Also, already 80% of human sewage is dumped untreated into the environment. So poor sanitation poisons people and the planet, causing 80% of infectious disease spread, 4% of all deaths, and smothers 2/3 of our coral reefs, also propagating climate change by spewing out the worst greenhouse gases, including methane and nitrous oxide, which are 30 and 300 times worse than, methane and carbon dioxide, which are 30 and 300 times worse than carbon dioxide. So sewage sanitation is never going to be an option for billions of people because they'll never have the infrastructure for it. You have explosive growth happening in urban areas and coastal regions. And that's coupled with the lack of infrastructure expansion and increasing water scarcity. So as a result, at least a third of people living in cities, that's about 2 billion people, will have to have a non-sewered toilet. So already the public and private sectors spend $19 billion a year on non-sewered alternatives, but none of those will keep communities clean or curb climate change. So during my NASA work, I came up with an idea for a toilet that makes waste disappear. Literally no flushing, no frequent collection, no dumping, discharge, or pollution. The thing is that human waste is 95% water. So instead of flushing it, we can just evaporate it. The iThrone is a waterless, sewerless toilet that quickly shrinks human waste. The iThrone captures waste in bags made of a novel, breathable material that we call shrink wrap for crap. These bags quickly soak up the liquid water content from waste, and then by pulling it through the membrane, convert that liquid water into pure water vapor, essentially evaporating the waste, but without using heat to do so. This shrinks collected waste by 95% in just one day, and it also stops the conversion of sewage into greenhouse gases. Additionally, the dry waste that comes out can be converted into bio products like energy, fertilizer, animal feed, etc. So we've run 2 pilots over 2 years. We've served 16,000 users. We've proven that the iThrone shrinks collected waste by 97%, and it's low energy enough to be run 100% off grid. Because it doesn't need a hookup to water or sewer, it's about 500 to 300 times cheaper to install than alternatives. And while most comparable collection-based or container-based toilets need emptying every day, the iThrone is emptied once in 1 to 4 months, so it's 30 to 100 times cheaper to service. The iThrone delivers an outsized social and environmental impact. Just one iThrone in a single year will reduce disease exposure to a community of 1,000 people in the surrounding area. It will save 1,000 bathtubs worth of water. It will contain and get rid of 24 bathtubs worth of sewage waste. And it will avoid greenhouse gas emissions equal to burning 125,000 pounds of coal. That's just one iThrone. So you can imagine what happens if we get more of them out there. We're currently working to deploy about 100 iThrones for a homeless housing development project in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we've already had $750,000 in paid deployment contracts and letters of interest for 6,000 units from construction companies, portable toilet providers, municipalities, and NGOs. Our team combines 50 years experience in clean tech innovation, hardware manufacturing, investing, sales and marketing, and international development, all with a shared aim to get safe and sustainable sanitation to more people in more places at lower cost.
Thank you so much, Diana. Pleasure to hear that. Again, it's just, I mean, the first time I was just like so blown away. So thank you so much for coming back. Any questions? We have just a couple minutes for questions, if there are. We've got one question. Where are you piloting this toilet in Africa?
We did a pilot in Uganda. It's not currently running, but yeah, we did it in Chiboga, Uganda, in a refugee hosting context.
Great. Can you talk more about the membrane? Thank you.
Yeah. So the membrane, essentially, it's made of components that sort of mimic the functions of how a plant moves molecular water. So we took inspiration from evapotranspiration and looking at how do plants actually release water from evaporative pores on their leaves, and then that drives absorption of water at the roots. And then you have sort of 3 parts of the the plant that are involved in movement of molecular water. It's the evaporative surface, the absorptive surface, and kind of like the spreading or transportation vascular surface. And so we've taken materials that we've combined into our material to essentially mimic all three of those. The majority of the material is compostable, so essentially it can essentially go with that bio mass and be composted. Was that the answer that were there other questions on that?
There was another question about the membrane, but I think you answered it
Yeah.
in that about where the material goes in terms of cost.
Yeah.
There's
So
another
yeah,
question
I
about
guess if it was, yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I think it says like the dried material is stored in these bags, and then they would be essentially taken out. The bags would be swapped out once every couple months, and then it depends on what the servicer is allowed to do in terms of either disposing or converting the waste. So.
Great. And Rebecca Nelson has two questions. She's curious about the cost of the membrane and if it's plastic based.
There's one tiny layer that has is a polymer, and the rest of it's organic material. We're currently essentially going to market with that, and then we have ideas of how to get rid of that one plastic layer once we get back into R&D phase. But it's really just a small, thin layer, and it's something that gets essentially swapped out every couple months. So we think the trade-off from a sustainability perspective is worth it to get this technology out to where people are essentially not managing waste. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Elisa, maybe, or yeah, is curious if there's a report on the Uganda pilot.
No, I mean not we reported to our donors. I mean essentially it's very simple metrics. We basically measured how much waste was collected, how much waste was evaporated, how many users we had, and then we took some qualitative testimonials from the women that were using it to ask them how how they liked the experience or what they would have improved. So we I think there is not a public report, but we did report back to our donor. I'm happy to share the results. It's pretty simple.
Great, thank you. Another question, how long does it take for a family of 6 to 8 membranes? How long would it take for a family of
Yeah.
6 to 8 to fill?
So initially we spec'd out that every bag would be able to be used for 50 uses per day for 28 days. That would be so 50 uses, that's the equivalent per day is the equivalent of a family of 10. So everybody, on general goes to the bathroom 5 times a day. And it depends on how well fed and how well hydrated you are. But essentially, we haven't been filling the toilets. So I mean, we're getting probably between 20 and 40 uses per day in the Panama toilets. And they have been running for up to 4 months and only getting about half full. So we also sort of initially, when we spec'd out the bags, we assumed only like a 70% evaporative efficiency. We're getting 97%. So that's probably why we're able to run them much longer.
Great, thank you. Can you speak about how the pee and poo are separated in the sit-down version of the toilet?
Yeah, we're just using a urine diverter in the seated part. So there's two modules that the toilet's made out of. There's the one that contains the urine bag, the one that contains the poo bag. The one that contains the urine bag has a urinal on it, and the one that is the poo bag, or has the poo bag, has the toilet seat on it. So, poo just drops straight down and the pee gets diverted with a diverter.
Great, thank you. I think we got time for maybe one or two more questions.
Mhm.
Do you see different evaporation rates in different climates? We had a good conversation.
Yeah, so in Panama, we were dealing with 90% relative humidity, which is why we thought we were only gonna, if we were lucky, get 70% evaporative efficiency. We are getting 97% despite the high humidity. And it turns out that air velocity is our friend, but even with the air velocity, we're not running the fan at full power. We're only running at about 0.2 kilowatt hour per day, which is about 1/10 to 1/20th the the power that a composting toilet uses for their fan. So yeah, so we were surprised. But yeah, we're getting a really high efficiency in humid weather.
Great. Thank you, Diana. All right. And if you have further questions, feel free to put those in the chat. And Dan, if you can keep an eye on those and respond in the chat, that would be wonderful.
Or
We're going to move along to our next presentation. Update on Waterless in-wall Peapod urinal by Hilda and Earle, Hilda Maingay and Earle Barnhart. And just so folks know, we have about 15 minutes per presenter, including questions and answers. So we'll keep doing questions and answers after each presentation. So feel free to put those in the chat, and we'll keep moving on like that. So Hilda and Earle, Hilda Maingay and Earle Barnhart are directors of the nonprofit Green Center. They have used the urine and compost from their urine diverting compost toilet for 10 years in their vegetable gardens. I hope you were here for their talk about that. Seeing it in person is really, really incredible, and seeing how much food they produce and put away for the winter is just incredible. They advocate for widespread use of urine diversion on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. They are developing a waterless in-wall urinal called the Peapod. And before you go, I just want to give another huge thank you for everything you did and hosted at the in-person summit on Cape Cod. It was such a pleasure to be there and to do that in collaboration with you. Take it away, Hilda and Earle.
Great, thank you. Can we share our screen?
You should have access to that. Go ahead.
All right. I don't see it anywhere.
We're seeing your desktop.
Yeah, it looks like it's at the bottom of your screen if you click and drag it to the top.
Oh, here. Yes.
Great.
Go to slideshow.
Oh,
right
there.
Yep.
There.
You got it.
Okay, good. Here we are.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Earle Barnhart. I'm with Hilda Maingay, and we're both with the Green Center on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And I'm trying to advance my slide here.
Would clicking on the arrow on the bottom work? I'm not sure what program you're using.
Yeah, try that one.
Yeah, that's
There we
good.
go.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
First.
Okay. Our talk is about a in-wall urinal for men, which we call a Peapod, and it's a urinal that is concealed flat in a wall of a room, and we have developed this with with design engineers, and we have patented it, and we are now making it available. Having it manufactured in a factory to make it available for people to try out and see how it works. It's there's a door that opens, it's called a lid. It's open, the men use it, the door closes. Most of the time the door is closed. All the surfaces inside are slick, and they're all curved, so there are no corners and crevices for urine to collect. The lid or the door lifts out, so it can be cleaned outside the toilet and put back in again. The front of the door and the rim around the toilet, which is optional, has a slight texture that would allow it to be painted. Inside at the bottom in the exit pipe, underneath the screen, is a one-way silicone valve called a curtain valve. And it stays closed except when liquid comes through it. It opens for the liquid to pass through, but then it closes again so no air or odors can come up. And this kind of valve is used in Europe. It's used in the Middle East. It's used in Mexico. It's used in California, in other urinals, and it's a good solution for letting the urine out and not the air in. We have one of these. We've just begun to manufacture them a couple of weeks ago. We have some prototype or some models to test. We put one of these in our own bathroom in the wall. This particular one does not have the rim or the bezel around it, but is flat and flush with the wall. The door opens, you use it, the door closes when you're done. Now, there's some advantages to this. Normally, men stand at a normal flush toilet and urine goes in all directions and it's a mess and it's smelly often. The urinal, the pee pod is designed such that the urine all goes in and there's no splashing outside of the pee pod. Men prefer to stand up and use a urinal. Everywhere in society, men go, in our culture, they use urinals, except the home. You go to a school, you go to an office, you go to a sports center, you go anywhere, it's urinals, but not in a home. And it's because they don't fit typically in a normal bathroom, because the conventional ceramic ones are big and don't fit into small spaces.
And they splash.
And they splash. So this is our bathroom in our home. We have 3 urine diverting fixtures in one bathroom. We have a separate Swedish urine diverting composting toilet, which the urine can be diverted out, the bowl of that. We have a pee pod in the wall, which I use as for the man in the house. And then we have the rich earth cubie, which men or women can both use, and it's a portable urinal. One thing we have thought of is that women can use the cubie, but women cannot use the pee pod directly. But if a woman uses a cubie, and you can pour it into the pee pod, such that inside your bathroom, the privacy of your own house, you can divert the men and women's urine into the pee pod without leaving the house and taking the cubie outside or transporting it somewhere else. If the man does not flush toilets and uses the pee pod instead, one person, the man, can save 4,000 gallons of water a year by not flushing. This pee pod is designed to fit inside the stud wall of a typical Western-built house, and it is flat and occupies a space inside the stud wall. It's designed to have a pipe, an exit pipe, go to a urine storage tank. And in our house, we have a urine storage tank in the basement. In a new construction situation, you can have the pipe leave the house and store in a buried urine storage tank outside. This is what's being proposed on Cape Cod as a good solution. And these outside urine storage tanks have a level sensor. When the level gets up to 70%, it automatically makes a noise, or it calls up and sends a text message to a pumper or a person to come and remove the urine. These tanks also have a little valve that lets air out. When urine goes in, some air has to go out.
And the same sensor is also in the basement one.
Yeah. So regulators have trouble with the idea of a urinal that uses a curtain valve, because they're afraid that gases will come up from the plumbing system of the house through it if it should fail. But we propose that these pee pods be piped directly to an outdoor or to a urine storage tank with a tube that goes under the surface of the liquid. And so there's no possibility of any kind of toxic gases coming up back through, because there are none. And there's no air movement whatsoever in the pipe. So on Cape Cod, we think this is the fastest, cheapest way that we could divert 50% of the nitrogen that's now going into the groundwater. And we think it would solve the problems of most of the watersheds on the Cape who otherwise would build sewers or install very expensive septic systems. We would propose that people use the Rich Earth Institute's technology. The urine is collected in the home with urine diverting fixtures, stored in tanks, taken away by a service such as wasted, pasteurized, made safe to use, and then used in various ways. It could be taken to a farmer, can be put into a composting ecodrum, made into compost because it's already sterile and the material would be safe. It can be sent to a company such as Wasted and made into a solid or a liquid fertilizer. We like the idea of ecodrum composters as a way to use this urine with waste materials from agriculture or from landscapes. You get a dry product instead of a liquid product. We like the idea that Wasted does of making solid struvite or a liquid out of it. If you made fertilizer with this urine, you wouldn't have to import fertilizer, which is a big pollutant on Cape Cod. The other interesting connection is if you have an incinerating toilet where the wastes are burned up, if you divert the urine with a pea pod, you're diverting all of the liquid. So the amount of energy required simply to burn the solid material is only 1/9 the amount of energy as it would take to evaporate and burn the liquid from the urine. So it would make the Cinderella or the incinerating toilet extremely efficient and handle more people. And you would also save the nitrogen in the urine, which otherwise in an incinerator gets burned up and lost. So we think this is the simplest solution for our situation. It saves water, recycles nutrients, and it's fast. And so we propose that Cape Cod try this out on a big scale and see if it's a good solution. If you would like to talk about getting one of these, you can contact us.
Amazing. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Hilda and Earle. Carol points out that there was a version of this in the 90s, which I know you're very, very well aware of. I know Kim Nace has one in her home. Do you want to share anything about the journey of creation from what it was to what it is?
Yes, 20 years ago in Canada, there was a home builder who made housing developments, and he kept trying to get people to put urinals in the homes to save water. His interest was saving water. He was not at all, he wasn't aware of the idea of diverting and saving urine for its value. So he could not get anyone to put a normal urinal in their bathroom. So he invented a urinal like this that was purpose was to save the water, and the urine went straight into the sewer. And he had a very complicated exit valve that would clog up and needed anti-odor chemicals, and he made this toilet. He patented it. He tried to sell it. He tried to give it to an American toilet company who raised the price to a huge height so no one would buy it. And he eventually, he died and his patent went defunct. So when we learned about it, we got one. Kim Nace has one. We learned that he had some problems. He had square corners. He had crevices. He had rough surfaces in it where the urine would get caught. So we designed ours to have no rough surfaces and have all smooth surfaces.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm seeing a lot of excitement in the chat and maybe some potential orders down the line. Are there any that I was asking if that used to be called the Mr. Miser, maybe? Mr. Mister? I don't know. I've always heard it as the pea pod, so I'm not sure if it had a different name at one time. Do you know if it had a different name at one time?
It didn't have a good name. It had 6 initials.
Resno.
Okay. Lucy's asking, have you had any uric acid buildup before the curtain valve?
We have not. I used one. We had prototypes made, 3D printed prototypes, and we used one for a year with these valves, and we did not see any degradation in the valves. These valves can be lifted out from the inside of the toilet and replaced easily.
They cost about $3.
Do you have like a cleaning routine or like a maintenance suggestion for that kind of thing?
What I do is after each use, we have a little spritzer of vinegar and we spritz in there just like the Rich Earth Institute proposed for spritzing into the QB. And it stops ammonia from forming on the inner surface. That's all I do.
Yes, used it now for a month in the wall and a couple years in the model outside. I had him put the model into the bedroom at one point to prove that there would be no smell. So we had it in the bedroom, standing loose, and we closed all the doors for a week. and I want to make sure there was no splashing on the wall and no odors. So that was our proof that it was a good design.
That is
So
bold,
far it
Hilda.
has, and so far it has been great in the bathroom. I have not noticed anything outside the little lid. He's taking care of the cleaning, and I look once in a while, and it's, as far as I know, he only spritzes vinegar and that's it.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, when we were there, I didn't smell anything. And Matthew pointed out early in your presentation that it was the least splashy experience he's ever had in a urinal. So the rave reviews are already coming in. Any other questions about the pea pod? I realize we actually have a little bit more wiggle room in our time for this session. So we have another moment for questions if there's another one. We can also take a few at the end of the whole session if they crop up. Rebecca's asking, what's the cost per unit going to be?
It's going to be probably 200, 225. Right now, the first models, the first 25, we're selling for 150. We have tried to get investors in it, but they want so much return on the investment that it all became way too expensive. So we are not going that route. So far, it has been funded by little funds, $25 here and $50 there. That was half of the funding, the original funding. We got a funder for some from work that we did for the Berkeley students. We helped them for a year and to teach them about urine diversion. And that gave us some of the money, about a third of it. And then now we are looking for another fundraising to get the rest of it paid for all the production that we had to do.
I should mention this is a project of the nonprofit Green Center.
Great.
And we had to borrow money. Green Center had to borrow money to actually get it in the product developed in the factory, which is, the tooling is very expensive, but we want to have it done before the summit. So we had no time to fundraise, so we borrowed money for it. So now next big job for Green Center is to start fundraising for the last bit of the production efforts. So the price does not include any of the amount that we got from funding. Because we want to keep it as low as possible.
Yeah, we're hoping that on the Cape Cod level, that a town or a neighborhood would have a program and they would install these for people, because it would be incredibly cheaper than any other solution that they now currently have.
Yeah, I know that's been a huge goal of yours to get this on the market for a long time. So I know how big of a win this is. Yeah. One more question. I'm going to ask it in two parts though, so it's secretly, sneakily two questions. Where is it made and what is it made out of?
It's made in a factory. Where are they? Michigan?
Yep.
In the Midwest, I think Michigan. It's made out of polypropylene. And we checked on what material was being used by the Separate company to make the Separate toilet that we use. And it was white polypropylene. So we use the same thing.
UV stable, extremely strong, slightly flexible. I've used the Separate now. We have used it now for 11 years, and it has been incredibly easy to clean. Like,
just wipe it.
Just wipe it with a cloth. I mean, that's all I ever do. So I thought that would be a good solution. So we called them up and asked exactly what their product was.
Great. And what is the connection with the waste pipe? Ole is asking.
Say that again.
The connection to the waste pipe. It's the one we valve.
Just the one we valve.
At the bottom of the pea pod is a screen, and then under the screen is this one-way curtain, silicone curtain valve, and then under that is a pipe, an exit pipe, and it was made with 2-inch diameter pipe on the assumption that plumbers would attach 2-inch PVC to it, to a storage tank. It's possible to put an adapter there that reduces the pipe size down to 1.5, which we have learned from Matt Lippincott and from Arthur. It's the standard diameter of a urine pipe installed in most places, 1.5 inches in diameter. So you could reduce the pipe size down and run a 1.5-inch diameter through the wall to your storage tank.
We would recommend to do a flexible pipe and have no connections between the angles that might have to happen in a house. So that's flexible, so that there's no struvite buildup anywhere. We have very, very little struvite buildup anywhere in this separate, but we were very conscious about that too. But we are going to change the pipe that we have now, which has a 90-degree in. We're going to change it to a flexible pipe like we did for the pea pod.
Amazing. I'm actually going to ask one more question. I know I kept saying that, but Martha's asking, it's just such a good question, if there's already a written manual, a YouTube video, some sort of workshop to help folks who want to install it know how to.
No, we do not have an installation manual yet. We were working on it.
Yeah. This actually, our talk today was directed at the beginning of it, to have all the drawings made. And so then we're going to have the installation manual. And yep, that's going to be our next job.
Perfect. Thank you. We very much already are looking forward to the update on this one. Thank you, Hilda and Earle and the Green Center. All right. We're going to move along to a presentation by Jenna Senecal about unisex urinals, the Swedish Experience. And if you recall, Jenna was our Golden Funnel recipient last year. So it's great to have you back and to hear some updates. This is also a project that we've been following with Richard and excited to hear the updates about. Jenna Senecal is a bioresource engineer and completed her PhD on nutrient recovery from human urine, system and hygiene evaluation at the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences. Jenna is leading the commercialization of the urine drawing technology at Sanitation 360 in Sweden. And I can already tell you are on site, Jenna. Take it away.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. And I'm co-hosting today with my lovely assistant who's going to show us how the Kisamaya works. So you heard from Isabel before about the Peter Green project that we're part of. And I've been trying to collect urine for even longer than that with a toilet rental company here on Gotland. And one of our main challenges is to get enough urine in order to produce it into a dry fertilizer. And so we've shown the dry fertilizer and our drying technologies in previous years. Yeah, you can show them. So this year we wanted to show you a new development since April, which is our Kisamaya, or the unisex urinal. And so in our collection, we've really struggled to get enough urine, and this is kind of a Swedish problem. With the toilet rental company, they have the typical gray freestanding male urinals that are quite exposed, and we see that men do not want to use them. And when we informally ask them, we hear that they want to pee behind a closed door. So there's actually long queues for the typical blue portable chemical toilet and not many people using the gray freestanding toilets. And the other important part is that we're missing out on half the population. Felicity and I don't have a nice dry urinal to use in order to collect our urine. So we started looking online and looking on the market to figure out what is available for either female or squatting urinals or unisex urinals. And we actually bought a Lapi, and Felicity can actually show us how the Lapi works. We'll have to walk over there. You can just put it down. And sorry, it's nighttime here, so we're going to have to use our headlamps. But Felicity will show you the Lapi. So the Lapi is a squatting urinal that we purchased in order to try to increase the amount of urine collected. But it didn't work for two reasons. And Felicity will show you one of the reasons. So this is how we use it. You step up, and then you turn around, and then you squat. So she's not taking off her pants, but you can see how exposed it is. And we can come in and show what it actually looks like. That's what you would squat into. And so we found that people were not actually comfortable using it, and especially in Swedish summers where it stays light out so late, you don't get that comfort of darkness to feel more hidden. But the design, it has 3 places for women to go or squatters to go. And another challenge was that we also got feces and quite a bit of garbage collecting in there. So that was the main or one problem. The second problem was that this unit is really heavy. It's 250 kilograms, which for how our teams work here wasn't feasible, because usually we're with touchdown, it's one person going out with all the toilets and urinals and just maneuvering them independently. And they're so light that I'm able to maneuver them. Whereas this Lapi, unfortunately, it weighs 250 kilograms. So we needed either a crane or a forklift or a lot of people to maneuver it. So for those two reasons, we couldn't get it to work. And then we started to develop the Kisamaya, and we'll show you that one. So the Kisamaya, it's a fun play on words, because the typical blue portable chemical toilets in Sweden and in Finland, they're called Bajamaya. And Baja means poop in Swedish. And so it's the poop Maya. And so Nicola, whom you've seen online, she came up with the clever wording Kisamaya, because kiss means pee in Swedish. So it's the pee toilet, or the pee Maya. Anyway, and now we will show you the inside of how the Kisamaya works. We're just going to put up a block. So Felicity will show you how she would use it. So as a kid, you can actually stand up and hover over it. So that's how Felicity would use it. And then she'll show you how I would use it. So there's two blocks there. And so you'd pull down your pants, and then there's handles on the inside, but you can see that she's just too short to be able to use it. So that's why she has to stand up and squat. But for me, I stand up on those blocks and I squat. It's okay. Thanks, love. And then can you show how Daddy would use it? Or so then Daddy would just go in and not necessarily have to stand on the blocks, but maybe maybe we would. And so that's how it works. And if you step out, Felicity, we can show the inside. So thanks, love. So as you can see, there's a mesh here, and it's on an angle. And the reason why we did that is for multiple reasons. Here in Sweden, we have a lot of chewing tobacco, or snus, and that ends up in all the toilets and all the urinals, and it's quite an unpleasant waste or contamination that ends up in our toilets. And so with the mesh, we actually block all of that coming out. We also have issues with feces coming in, and we also have issues with toilet paper coming in. So with this, things that land on it actually fall off of it. Here, do you want to throw or you can throw toilet paper on it if you want and show. So instead, with the next user doesn't have to come into a dirty toilet. They can come into a cleaner toilet. And then the toilet paper, it goes into the garbage bin on the side. And we also have hand alcohol dispensers and handrails on the side. So we launched this in April at a student festival in Sweden, and it was a great success. And then we've used it at several festivals over the summer. And each time it's been incredible to see the feedback, or hear the feedback, and see how clean it is and that it doesn't smell because of our chemical stabilizer that's in it. So it doesn't matter if you're the first user or the 900th and 90th user, it smells great. And that was also commented by the service providers who are helping empty the Kisamayas for us. They often have issues with the garbage getting into the toilets, and then having issues with literal poop explosions with the vacuum pumps because of the challenges with the garbage coming in. Whereas with this screen, it's really nice and clean. And so they said that every event should be 2/3 Kisamaya and 1/3 the regular toilets, because so few people actually need to defecate at events. And I'm also really impressed with the fact that people are using it for the first time, especially for squatters. It can be a little bit intimidating with the mesh in case it splashes back. but the mesh works really well to actually avoid the splashback. And so there's not splashing happening within the Kisamaya either. So it doesn't smell afterwards either, even after several days of use. So we're pretty excited about it. And we are trying to develop models that we can also expand this beyond Sweden so that other people can use the same concept as well, as we see that it's working really well. And that is what I have as a presentation, and a shout out to my team online who are also going to help answer questions, so that please go ahead and ask questions.
Thank you so much, Jenna and Felicity. That was incredible. And I have so many questions. And maybe I'll just, well, hang on. Sorry, I'm distracted because I'm so excited to ask you questions. But I will look at what is in the chat as well. Have you built and produced all the units yourself, or do you have a manufacturing partner?
So at the moment, we use the actual structures, the yellow structures. That's just the typical blue portable toilet, but we ordered them in yellow instead. So everything that's in there is all prefab. And the thing that we came up with is we're going to open the door again. Is the metal structure. And that metal structure, we have local welders on Gotland who are manufacturing for them for us. And so we've manufactured 10 units so far, and we're looking to scale up by just manufacturing the metal inserts. Can you move so they can see the metal insert again? Thanks, love. So that then toilet rental companies don't need to buy the entire superstructure in the toilet. They just need this insert. And the way to empty it is that this lid actually just pops open, and then you just empty it regular with a vacuum pump. So there's no need for major retrofitting, which was crucial for us to just easily fit into the existing business model that the toilet rental companies have here in Sweden.
That sounds very smart. I'm curious. We've also done a version of like a pee only toilet in conjunction with our full service toilets at festivals, and we've done a number of things to try to eliminate what we call rogue poos. And I'm curious if you're finding that like the mesh and the difference in like what it looks like when you walk into that room. Like, I guess I'm wondering what you're finding, if folks are able to sort of mentally shift what they're walking in there to do. I know there's sometimes people can't control what they're doing in a bathroom, but I think there's also sometimes that if it looks and feels like a normal bathroom, then it's hard for them to mentally shift that. And so I'm curious what you're hearing and what you're seeing, and what that experience has been.
Yeah, sorry, my daughter has to pee, so she's going to pee. The poo question. So we've had 2 accidents in the whole summer, and they both happened at the same event. Yeah, I can see Nicola's answering some stuff in the chat. Thank you. And the 2 times that we had the accidents, the Kisamayas were more on display, and so they weren't right beside other toilets. So we think what happened is someone really needed to go and then just went. In one case, they cleaned it up so you couldn't actually see it until I was there cleaning the toilets. The second person left quite a mess for Nicola. But we think we can, because we didn't have that issue at any of the other events where the toilets were beside the Kisamayas. So we hope that that's one way of solving it, because they're so distinct as well to the blue typical portable toilets.
That makes sense. Can you, which I think also answered Hilda's question, and it looks like Sean's question is being answered by Nicola about like graphics and illustrations. Can you speak a bit more about the chemical stabilizer that you have in the toilets?
Yeah, so we've been using acid. I heard Earle and Hilda talking about vinegar. Vinegar is really nice. It definitely helps with the smell. It can be expensive when we're at our size. So we've been working with different acids, trying out which ones work. And Prithvi actually published an article with all the different acids that we've tested. And we see that citric acid is quite nice in terms of being food grade and easy to work with, but the sulfuric acid and the life cycle analysis works the best. But in terms of safety concern, the sulfuric acid is actually quite difficult to work with. So instead, we're coming up with a blend of acids that work for us in order to maintain the pH over time and not lose, destabilize if it is on the site for too long before we empty it.
Amazing, thank you. I noticed I just want to mention this out loud, but Nicola also put in a link to more information about the how to use graphics and illustrations. So I encourage folks to check that out. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Felicity. And thank you, Nicola. I don't know who else is on your team that is here right now. I'd have to do a little scroll, but thank you to your team and for the live presentation. That was very fun. Looks like it's cold and dark there.
Very impressed.
Great. Thanks so much for letting us share. It was a pleasure.
Great. We have one more talk in this presentation or in this section, unlocking eco sand tools for, nope, sorry. Backing up. I got lost in my sheet here. Smart zero waste toilet, a sensor-based urine diversion system for sanitation and fertilizer generation by Dr. Abhijeet Dileeprao Pati. Who is a civil engineer, researcher, and academician with a PhD in construction management, specializing in sustainable sanitation and waste to resource innovations. His work focuses on fecal sludge treatment, organic fertilizer development, and sensor-based zero waste toilet systems with over 16 research publications, 5 patents, and 2 books to his credit. And apologies if I mispronounced your name. I'm excited to hear you say it first. Can you say that one more time? You were quite quiet.
Can I share my screen, ma'am?
Yes, yeah, you're welcome to share your screen. Also, your audio is coming in a little bit quiet. If there's a way you can turn up your input.
Am I audible now?
It's a little bit louder, but it's also a little fuzzy. I'm not sure what your options are.
Okay. And now, can you check it? Am I audible, ma'am?
That's better. Yeah.
And you can go ahead and share your screen if you like.
Yes, ma'am. I will share my screen.
Okay, great.
Is it visible, ma'am? Right now?
Yes, looks great. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Can I start my presentation, ma'am?
Yes, yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, hello, Barnhart. Myself, Dr. Abhijeet Patil. I am working as the Associate Professor and Head of the Civil Engineering Department in Dr. D.Y. Patil Prathisthan College of Engineering, Kolhapurl, India. So, the name of my topic is Smart Zero Waste Toilet, which is a sensor-based urine diversion system for the sanitation and the fertilizer gadget. Ma'am, slide is changing on the screen. So this is the content of my presentation. This is the introduction. So I am from the India. So I would like to share my views about the India, some real things about the India. But India is an agro-based company. India is an agro-based country with 64% of the population living in the rural area.
The government and the scientists focused more on the water pollution and the air pollution till 1970s. So till today, in rural India, open defecation is noticed in almost all the 28 states, but not the 100% population, but mainly most of the population in the rural areas are facing the open defecation problem. So in this regard, the literature survey has been carried out with a focus to get an overall scenario in the rural sanitation sector. So these are the problems that I identified for my research work, which I am going to present you. So these are the problems that is poor sanitation in the village. Then open defecation is one of the most big problems in the rural area. Then the lack of awareness about the use of the sanitation system, use of the toilet. Then disease transmission risk, which is also one of the most important problems. Then pathogens on the toilet surfaces and inefficient toilet waste utilization, which is generally happening in most of the villages in India that I have identified. So these are the few objectives which I have identified for my research work. So first is to study the different sanitation facilities. I have taken a case study of one village. The name of that village is Beldarwadi village, which is in Maharashtra state of the India. Second objective is to find the optimum proportion of the various raw materials. Then third is to apply the prepared fertilizer. I have also prepared the fertilizer, but I am not going to present the fertilizer information in my today's presentation. I am just going to give a brief introduction about the automated sanitation. And the last objective is to design the automated sanitation system to prepare the above mentioned fertilizer. So to study all these things, I have identified one study area. Hello, ma'am. Whether my slide is visible to you, study area? Hello, ma'am.
Sorry.
Could you ask that question
Whether
again?
my slide is visible?
Your slides are visible.
I asked the question.
Yeah, we're seeing
Whether my slide is visible to you?
we're seeing the slide that says study area.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I will continue. So I have selected one study area that is I already mentioned you, that is the Beldarwadi. The note and the photograph that you can see on my screen. These are my students with whom I have worked. So I have done the observations, that is the monitor. I have monitored the pure sanitation in that area. I have monitored various villages in the various regions of Maharashtra, and I have selected this village. So I have done the Beldarwadi village analysis. Poor sanitation condition, and population is around 580 people that are living in that region. This is the household survey that I have carried out to understand the problem that the people in the Beldarwadi village are facing. So I have prepared this household survey from according to the which government schemes they are taking the benefits. What is the annual income of the resident? What is the water collection system? Then what is the poverty status in that village? Then drainage linked to house is covered or open, or there is no any drainage. Then biogas plant is present or not. Compost pit is present or not. So like that, I have collected the information in various 12 sectors. The last thing is major problems in the village. So I have done the household survey. I have visited each and every house. I have interacted with each and every resident of that village, and I have collected all this information. So, due to this information, I get to know that what is the exact problem of that village. And I am focusing on the basic problem, that is the toilet. So, you can check on the screen what is the current situation of the village, that is what is the situation of the toilet. So, I have also, these are the statistics of the surveys, that is the toilet facility. So it is having 60% open defecation in that village. 30% people are practicing the 30% people is having their private toilet, and 2% people have are practicing the community toilet. The number of families benefited by the government schemes in India, there are various government schemes are there by which people can improve their living. There are various government schemes are there. So I have bifurcated all those things here. The number of families having drainage linked to the house. So there is no any single family which is having the drainage linked to the house. You can check on this page what is the current scenario of the drainage in that village. Also, I have taken the information about the waste collection system. So there is no any waste collection system in that village. That type of the house, if there is a good house or the bad house, we call it as the kacha house. Then availability of the compost pit. There is no any compost pit in that village. Also, all those things I have collected, all the information that I have collected. What is the source of the water? What is the source of the lightning system in that village? So the 49% is having no electricity. 49% homes don't have the electricity. Also, I have monitored the usage of the toilet. For that, I have prepared one device, which is the Arduino electronic device. So that device senses the use of the toilet. So I have installed this device on the queue of the toilet. I have taken the samples. I have taken the survey on the sample basis. So I have installed this device on queue of the toilet, and I have collected the information. This is the Arduino electronic device. So sensor registers the entry and the exit of the person, and also it identifies the individual visits. Also determines the daily average users also. So majority practices the open defecation. Only 20% people are using the toilet as per my monitor. So these are the observations of my survey. That is the lack of awareness about the importance of using the toilet in the case study village. That the location is far away from the major transportation routes. Then, due to lack of employability, also young people lying in the metro city, which leads to the economic imbalance in that village. The economic disability also leads to the poor sanitation practices. Then backward mentality and the mindset, which are also the significant challenges which I have observed. Then open defecation, which is a common practice in the village, which I have observed. The village administrators are taking the bad advantage of the residents' illiteracy. This is also one of the major observations that I have taken. Also, I have prepared one questionnaire survey. It is in the local language, so we cannot understand the language, but I can translate you. So this is the questionnaire survey that I have asked the questions to the villagers, and I have taken their feedback that what type of the fertilizer they want. If I want to prepare fertilizer by using that toilet. So I have prepared the questionnaire survey also. This is the statistics of the questionnaire survey also, that is type of the fertilizer used by the farm, type of the crop produced by the farm. So I can prepare the fertilizer according to the crop production. The factors considered by the farmer, the type of the fertilizer used by the farmer based on its form. Then do check the quality of the soil per year. I have also taken all those things also. So only 8% people are checking their quality per year. So which factor you will use most preferred to reject the fertilizer using the human species. So all this information that I have collected. Average amount the people spend on the fertilizer per year per acre is 20,000 rupees. I have collected this information in the local currency, that is rupees. Okay, I have not taken it in the dollars now. So this is the analysis of the questionnaire. I am not giving the more emphasis on this questionnaire because I have to majorly focus on the zero waste toilet, that is the smart zero waste toilet, which is urine diverting toilet. So you can check the current situation of the village. What is the sanitation facilities? What is the facility? What is the things about the gutters that you can check? These are the count shades, and these are the situations of the toilet. So this is my major thing that I would like to explore, that I would like to explain with you. That is the zero waste toilet. So this is the zero waste toilet, which I call it as the innovative eco toilet. So it is a sensor-operated solar-based toilet. So it addresses the limitations of the existing solutions. First, I would like to give you the introduction about the toilet. Then I will elaborate in detail. So the feces and urine is getting separated in the toilet. So it converts the feces into the organic fertilizer. It separates urine from the feces for the extraction of the urea. It is a touchless flushing mechanism. That is also one of the important things. So sensor initiate the flushes. Sensor initiate flushes automatically and activated upon the user entry and after a set device. Also, I have attached a specially designed tank. So it tracks systems, detects the feces to tank. two inclined meshes that I have provided, mild steel and the nylon fabric. Okay, so I will elaborate in detail in further slide. This is just an introduction. These are the two toilets, Indian pant toilet and commode toilet. I will show you the photograph about the Indian pant toilet. All of you know the commode toilet. So you can check the Indian pant toilet, and second is the commode toilet. Okay. So these are the components of the zero waste toilet. That is the toilet pan, which has been specially designed. The sensors, the separation unit, and the filtration unit. So this is the toilet pan that I have designed. So you can check there are two outlets of this toilet pan. First is for the urine, that is foremost part, and the backmost part is for the feces. Okay, so these are the two pans that I have designed. Upper one is the commode toilet, lower one we call it as the Indian pan toilet. Okay, so this is the process that how one can use the toilet pan. That is the selection of the required size for the toilet pan and the preparation of the mold. How I have prepared these molds that I have explained here. Just applying a layer of the special wax as a releasing agent to the pan for the smoothness and the injury removal. Then creating a solution for the fiberglass resin mixed with the cobalt for the thread and achieving the desired white color. Then marble powder may be added for the density adjustment. Then added the hardener to the solution to control the cutting time. The quality can be adjusted. So this is the manufacturing process of this toilet pan, which I call it as the urine diverting pan. So this is just the manufacturing process that you can check on this screen, how it has been manufactured. Okay, so on the pilot scale, I have prepared it. It cannot be used for the large scale model. So it is just a pilot scale model which I have prepared. These are the sensors. So sensors sense the people which is coming, which is entering into the toilet, and people don't have to use their hands for the flushing or for clicking on the light. Okay, so these sensors sense in that side. So sensor detects the user entry, triggering flushing of the toilet, activation of the lighting well. So if the person leaves the toilet before 3 minutes, automatic flush is initiated. Water usage is 6 liters per flush. So for usage beyond 3 minutes, user must place their hands in front of the ultrasonic digital sensor for 5 seconds. Simultaneously, flushing and jet sprays are initiated. Means by using these sensors, the user's body or whatever the feces area can be cleaned. Also, the pan can be cleaned. Okay. So the sensor can be used for these three things. First is for the lighting purpose. Second is for the flushing purpose. Third is for cleaning the feces area of the person's body. So these three things can be done by the sensor. This is a process flow diagram of the sensor system, how sensor works. So electricity is supplied to Arduino via the AC to DC converter. At the first slide, I have mentioned that is solar operated toilet. Okay. So electricity can be replaced by the solar energy. Okay. So electricity or the solar energy can be supplied to the Arduino via AC to DC converter, which we call it as the SMCA. Then Arduino activates the pump as per the program. Arduino triggers the PIR and the ultrasonic sensor. These are the two sensors that I use. PIR sensor detects the object in the infrared rays. If object detected, light turns on and flush is controlled based on the toilet. So I have given the setting as the 3 minutes is equal to 6 liters. That 6 liters can be used for the 3 minutes flushing. About 3 minutes, it can be utilized the 15 liters of the water. If no object detected, the system remains off. So after toilet use, person activates the water jet by holding hand in front of the ultrasonic sensor for 2 seconds. Then person exits and the system turns. This is the separation unit. After the feces are getting collected into the toilet pan, those feces and the urine are collectively coming into feces separation tank. In fecal separation tank, I have attached a inclined mesh. I have given the 40 to 45 degrees angle to that mesh. So urine is getting collected at the bottom. Feces are getting collected at the top. So because of that, I have attached a mesh of the 40. I have given the angle as the 45 degrees. Which is full filtration unit, means whatever the urine or the wastewater which is getting collected at the bottom it will be getting collected into coal filtration tank. In the coal filtration tank, at the bottom side, all the wastewater is getting collected, and because of the coal and the aggregates also, I am going to prepare. I am going to set the large gravel layer, fine gravel layer, and the fine sand layer. And at the bottom, I am going to apply the coal, or I am going to keep the coal at the bottom. So because of that, all the waste, that is the solid waste, are getting stuck with the coal, and the fresh water is getting collected at the top side. So I am using the coal filtration unit. So this is one of the manufacturing the assembling of the eco toilet. Also, I have used the walls has been manufactured by using the bottles. I have filled the waste. Also, I have filled the sand in these bottles. I also have manufactured the walls by using the bottles. So these are the two pans which I use. These are the installation of the sensor. The circuit box also it is attached at the back side of the toilet, and this is the program which I have set into the sensor so that it can work accordingly. Then this is the collective system of the feces. You can check there is a handle has been provided to the fecal separation tank so that whatever the feces that are collected at the top side of the tank that can be taken in some another pan so that we can convert the feces into the fertilizer, fecal based fertilizer. This is the coal filtration unit which I already mentioned, which we also call it as the activated charcoal filter. This is the process flow chart that how the toilet runs or how the toilet can operate. Person enters the toilet, LED light switches on, which is automatic process. Plus it's triggered based on the duration of the use, which we can give the timing for the sensor. Switches are separated for the composting. Urine is directed in a separate pipe because we have provided the urine separation pan. So urine and feces are getting collected separately. Few of the urine droplets can be mixed into the fecal tank, but we can separate it by using the fecal separation tank. That flush water goes to a coal filtration unit. Filtered water flows to a disinfecting tank and reuse the flush. Person activates the water jet with the sensor and person exits the toilet. These are the construction features of the toilet. So you can check the dimension of the toilet, then exact size of the toilet, or the exact area of the toilet, or exact shape of the toilet. This is the first is the Indian pan toilet, second is the commode pan toilet, and these are the measurements. Also, this is the coal filtration tank, the separation tank, coal filtration tank. There is one another tank that is the disinfection tank. So disinfection tank separates the waste water which is collected in the coal filtration tank and again disinfects the waste water. So in disinfection tank, I have added the chlorine into it so that the water will again get disinfected. This is the ultrasonic distance sensor and passive infrared sensor. These are the details of the sensor which I have used. This is the quantitative analysis which I have carried out. That is the tank total value is 0.095 cubic meter. The dimensions that I have mentioned, which is 457 mm. Then upper part of the tank has a volume of 0.0285 cubic meter. So by using the one tank or the one toilet, how much grams of the feces can be collected, how much grams of the fertilizer can be prepared. So all those the quantitative analysis that I have carried out. These are the merits of the our system. That is which is the most important point of my presentation. That is the automated sensor for flushing, which eliminates the manual flushing for the convenience of the efficiency. Water saving design is also there, which addresses the water scarcity concern with the water saving mechanism. Enhanced hygiene can be achieved, which provides the contactless experience in minimizing germ transmission. Then reduce the maintenance is also there because automated features result in the less wear and tear. The age of the use that also we can achieve, which is streamlining the automated functions which make the eco toilet accessible Then environmental sustainability, which transforms the feces into the compost for the soil enrichment. Then urine separation, efficiently manages the waste by separating up to 80% of the urine. Then user comfort, designed to provide a high level of the comfort during the use. Then sanitation and the long lifespan. So effective flushing mechanism ensures the proper cleanliness. Then bacterial infection prevention, which minimizes the spread of the bacteria, addressing the challenges of the bacterial infection transmission in Indian toilets. So these are the few merits of my toilets. These are the few demerits also. That is, expertise is required. The initial investment is also high. Then maintenance is required. Sensor issues may happen, or objects will be flushed away. Those things also someone has to take care in the future. In innovation perspective, that is using physics separation. Then stopping the process may create a problem. Then water repellent sensor should be there. Then cost we have to take care. Then ceramic toilet production, which is also one of the most important challenge. Then cleaning issues may be there. And the flushing toilet filtering reserve. So this is the conclusion of my research. That is addressing challenges which combine the sanitation and the agriculture solutions. Focus on the open defecation, illumination, and resource reuse. Then zero waste toilet, which is having the sensor operated, touchless, odor sprays mechanism, water jet, urine diversion for about 80% nutrient recycling, water saving, renewable energy based, and hygienic, which is having a low maintenance, and reduce the plastic waste, which is having the low limitations, which is also having few limitations, there is high initial cost, requires specialized knowledge. These are the few key recommendations for my project. That will be community engagement, then infrastructure development, then awareness campaign should be there. There's technical training should happen because people don't know how to use it. There could be some community engagement also, which has to involve the local stakeholders in the design, implementation of sanitation. So these are the few things that one has to focus if anyone wants to do the further study in this case. This is the future scope that the technological advancement can be done, then accessibility and affordability can be.
Dr. Patil, we're getting pretty close to the time that we need to move into the next session. So if you want to have a final moment, and then we're going to encourage you to answer questions in the chat as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Patil, there were some great questions in the chat from Carol.
Yes.
So thank you so much. It's great to see that project and to see the incorporation with the community and to hear about the details of how that is made and to see that process. Thank you so much. And if you're able to hang out and answer the question in the chat from Carol about if the fact that there is monitoring and data collection, if that is affecting people's relationship with using that toilet, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.